quite a unique race, this, in the way that it's a road race, but you have to kind of ride it almost like a circuit race.
Well, the race is 9 years old, and it was just really a brainchild of mine. I enjoyed riding these roads so much, so I thought, why can't I share this with somebody else? So the race was born. I found another couple of idiots who thought it was a good idea.
Well, I've always said it's a strongman's race. I mean, you have to just be prepared to expend lots of energy staying near the front in this race. It's not a race that really rewards conservatism and holding back till late, because you'll find the race will be 10 minutes away if you do that.
This race is about positioning well. I think the riders that can fight for position for 4 or 5 hours and never sort of lose concentration, and you know, they're not just strong enough and fit enough to stay near the front. They're prepared to fight for 4 or 5 hours to stay at the front. Those are the guys that will be ultimately successful in this race.
A little bit of off-road makes it interesting, but you don't really win the races, but you can lose them on there. So it's a bit of a cliche, but it's true.
Today's very, very different to last year. Last year it was biblical rain and you know, freezing cold temperatures, which is kind of my thing.
I don't know if you were here last year, but it was arguably the worst day of the year, I would say. Absolutely pelting down with rain. 22 hardy souls completed the race, and at the end it was the Frenchman Alexandre Blade that claimed the victory.
Well, the sun's out, so we're going to be able to see the potholes. When it rains, you can't see the potholes because they're filled with water.
Last year I had a really good race in the really hot conditions. Very cold and wet day. I think I ended up finishing 7th, but there weren't many people left in the race at that point.
Rutland's one of the 2 international one-day races in the UK, so for us it's an important race. So we want to try and, like every team on the start line, we want to win. We've come here to try and win. I mean, that's all. We want to win. We'll be disappointed if we don't, but it's going to be 24 teams going home disappointed, so it's going to be a fight, and we're here to fight for it.
The way they ride out on the continent is a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more cutthroat than we're used to in the UK, but to be honest, if you do plenty of crits and you're kind of used to the push and the shoving, it's kind of similar to that, but just over a longer duration of the race.
You do a couple of laps of the reservoir, which is also a lot of attacking early on, and then there's just a massive fight like it's the finish for the first section, because it goes into lots of small roads. And I remember from the other years I've done it that if you get to the front for the first section, you normally stay there for the rest of the race.
If you know how to ride the dirt, it's a lot more simple when you've not got too many people around you, and you can kind of pick your own line a bit better.
It's always difficult coming to a race with race number 1, but Alex Blaine obviously knows the course very well. So all been well, we've done everything to this point now. It's down to the boys now, and legs and luck, as I say.
It's going to be a really tactical and strategic race today. For sure, when it's muddy, when you ride in the front, you've got the advantage. You don't have mud on your eyes, or you can really choose your lane. It's also important to stay in the front when it's dry, because you can choose your lane and miss the holes.
We couldn't do this without volunteers. We have about 150 people that work with us on the day, and they come from all walks of life. We have Rotary Club members, a local 4x4 response group, and without these sorts of groups we just wouldn't be able to put a station event like this at all. We're hopeful that we can now move the race forward to a 1.1 within a couple of years' time, and the 2 new sponsors that we have this year, which is Giant store at Rutland Water and Schwalbe Tyres, they both have the same ambitions as myself concerning the race, so hopefully that should assist us in reaching our ambition. When I first set this race up, I had the ambition of actually moving the race to an international within 5 years. We managed that in 3.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, away we go, and the best of luck. We wish all the competitors the very best of luck today.
You're fixing the signs, 5 seconds to go.
So how do you stay on top of everything when you're so far back? How do you know what's going on?
Now you've got the radio, you've got race radio.
Heading towards the race, all race vehicles, please stay on your side of the road.
And everybody in the convoy the same standard information. And you do need to keep your wits about you, looking out the windscreen at looking out for your jerseys, which hopefully you don't see too many of, because you can only see the back of the race.
Currently ahead of Broom 1.
It's pretty much the first opportunity all the British teams at our level have had to race against each other. So when you add in all the factors, that it's on home roads, the level of the race, it's pretty important, yeah, of course.
Group now 11 riders, with the 8 chasers having caught the original 3 leaders. And the peloton just completing the first climb.
So every team that's represented generally has a support vehicle carrying nutrition and spare equipment, and obviously between us and the radio further information than they might know. So to establish some sort of order, all the teams' names go into a hat, they're drawn out, and it is literally the luck of the draw as to where you are on a one-day race, because even at sort of 9 or 10 cars back, that's quite a significant gap to the back of the peloton. So staffing, both for nutrition and spare equipment, that's pretty fundamental for this race.
Teammate up there, number 2, they're through, but he's lost contact with the punches, so he's been ready through to the peloton. Number 14's in this group, that's Van Uden on no 14 on racing number 23. Ian Bibby, good sprinter Bibby, second on a very tough stage down in Swansea in the Tour of Britain the other year.
When this race came up, I was asked over the telephone very quickly what I was going to call it by a reporter, and the only thing I thought about very quickly was, we'll call it the Rutland to Melton CiCLE Classic. The race of this type now costs in the region of about £45,000 a year, even at the base level as an international, and I think that that is becoming a bar to other organisers moving to the same level as ourselves.
Hold on. Your experience today?
Hold on. Oh, it's great, yeah, it's hold on. The off-road bit was superb, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely great.
That was tough. Did my job there, got Jimmy Mack and Ed to the front for the summer break, so happy enough. Just trying to find the finish now.
together, let's hear it. 1 lap to go, 15 kilometres of racing remain.
first rider to do it twice. That's a bike race. Harry, well done.
My money was on you, mate. Once more with feeling, come on. It's some real emotion. They've been married for too long.
The second place finisher today on Madison Genesis team is Ian Bibby. This man, ladies and gentlemen, won this race back in 2009, and he makes history here today by becoming the first man in the history of the competition to win the race twice. Super Wilco, who doesn't know his own strength. Are you going to spray the... Well done, Wilco. That's what I like to see.
When you first crossed the line, I was a bit disappointed with second, but when you look back later on, you're happy you've done a good ride. But it was a long day today, really.
It's one of only 2 this year UCI races in Britain that one day. It's been, it really is a classic race in its own right. Colin's made a great addition with the extra finishing loop. It gives everyone in Melton a chance to see the race a little bit before we come in for the finish.